Today's October 29th, 2025. Here we go. So, U.S. to begin reducing troops in Eastern Europe. This is specifically Romania. We've had a presence there for a long time, and Trump is pulling troops back. There's still going to be about 1,000 troops that are going to remain. We'll see how long. But that's a big deal because Romania is right next to Ukraine. Ukraine kind of relies on those soldiers in Romania as like a Russian deterrent. But so Ukraine can't be happy about this, but I'm happy about this, and this is kind of what we voted for: less action militarily around the world. So anytime you're reducing troops is a good thing. Now this doesn't mean anything for Russia. Russia's not going to take over Europe, just Ukraine. But that kind of pushes off on the insurance that Ukraine had, because they had a lot of troops right outside Ukraine in Romania. So even if Russia did take over Ukraine, those soldiers would be like right there. Not anymore. So Ukraine can't be happy about this, but everyone else in the world is happy about this. And hopefully that we can get this number to zero. Hopefully we can get this 1,000 to zero soon. But that's probably not going to happen. So that's interesting. That's something that's worth noting, in my opinion. And then China is cutting Ukraine drone part supplies. So basically China was selling some stuff to Ukraine to make these drones that Ukraine has been using actively. It's kind of interesting how China was providing some of these materials because they're very aligned with Russia. So I'm sure Russia probably told them to do this, or they had some agreement because, you know, China and Russia are very close. They're still competing with each other, but yeah, this will help Russia a lot. Same with those troops being put away. So China is basically stopping the supplies that are being sent to Ukraine. So Ukraine's getting just decimated right now, and now they have less supplies for these drones that they've been using. So that's kind of a big deal. Did Russia tell them to do this, or did they have an agreement? It's probably one of the two. I don't think China would just do this, especially if they're making money off it, because they're selling this stuff to Ukraine. They're not just giving it. So, yeah, so I don't know what Ukraine's going to do, because Zelensky said he's going to strike inside Russia, but now he's probably going to have less supplies to do that. Who knows? But China, this is a good thing, because we don't want to keep arming Ukraine. So, yeah, that's worth noting. And Trump's going to meet with President Xi soon, whether it's this week or in the beginning of the next year. Depending on how the Russia-Ukraine war is going, Trump might even put more pressure on China to halt all supplies or something like that. I don't know, because this just seems kind of weird that China would just randomly stop selling supplies to Ukraine when they're making money off it. So, in my opinion, I think they either had an agreement with Russia, or Russia just straight up told them to not do that anymore. I don't know. It just seems kind of strange that China would just stop selling supplies to Ukraine when they're in a war. So they're just making all this money off it. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. Ukraine probably can't attack as much now because they don't have the drones. Ukraine loves to use drones. That's like their main thing they operate in this war is drones. Especially because there's like no more soldiers left. So it's like Ukraine is really running out of time here. But yeah, so then over here, Venezuela takes action against Trinidad and Tobago over hosting U.S. warship. Yeah, so everybody knows that we sent warships over there, and they actually doing like some exercises with Trinidad which is 7 miles away from Venezuela. 7 miles away. Like you can see these ships from Venezuela. And basically, Maduro doesn't like that. We know what he's been talking about lately, and this is probably just a show of force for the U.S. to be like, look, all your surrounding neighbors are with us. I don't know, but Venezuela doesn't like this, and to be fair, if Venezuela would stop the drug production, the U.S. probably wouldn't even be there right now. But the problem is for Venezuela, they make so much money off these drugs that like they can't just stop. It's their whole economy. And by whole economy, I mean like the people that are selling the drugs are getting paid. This isn't going to like the citizens or anything. So there's no way they're just going to stop that, which means the U.S. will have to do a strike or something like that because we're literally blowing up their ships as they're coming over here, and they still keep coming. We just blew up another one, I think yesterday. I think it was 14 people that we killed. They were on a boat sending fentanyl and other drugs right to the U.S., and we blew them up again. That's like the fifth or sixth boat just in the past couple months. But like I've been saying, there's no way they're going to stop doing this. So the U.S. has to do something first. And these people have nothing to lose. A lot of these people that are bringing these drugs over, they don't have money. They don't have anything. If they die, they die. But if they don't, then they can get a huge payday. So a lot of these people have nothing to lose. This isn't Maduro bringing these drugs over here. Maduro's not getting on a boat. He's going to hire some guy with nothing to lose. And if he dies, he dies. But clearly, Venezuela's not stopping. So the U.S. will do something. And it's kind of interesting because everyone knows the U.S. is probably going to do something, but will Trinidad and Tobago assist? I hope not, because that could turn into a regional war. Because again, Trinidad and Tobago, they're so close to Venezuela. It's crazy. And so yeah, we're all just waiting to see what the U.S. does. I'm pretty much convinced that the U.S. will do something at this point in regards to a first strike. Again, we'll have to see if there's false flag elements to that. Maduro's been saying that. But this is kind of a stalemate because Venezuela will always be trying to send drugs here. Always. And the U.S. is saying, no, you can't do that. So obviously at some point there is going to be a point where the two heads of these sides meet. Not literally, but yeah, at some point there has to be some dialogue between Trump and Maduro or something, because right now they're just saying comments to each other like they're playing telephone. Just get on a phone call and end it, because we're looking at a U.S. first strike here as the best possibility, which can't be good for Venezuela at all. So it's like, why would you let us do this? Just stop sending drugs. But again, we're in a weird situation. Venezuela's not going to stop. U.S. wants them to stop. U.S. is more powerful, so therefore U.S. will have the final say. That might not be a good thing, though, because U.S. might do some serious damage to Venezuela, and a lot of innocent people could get killed, even though a lot of innocent people are getting killed here because of the drugs. So, again, war, there's no right or wrong. It's just what's best. And if what's best is a first strike, then they better do it clean, precise, coordinated, no false flag element, no civilians. Just make it happen, send the message, because if it goes left, then we could be looking at a huge conflict with Venezuela. Not that Venezuela is a threat, but it would make the U.S. look bad if we mess up a strike or something and we hurt Venezuela. I mean, could you imagine if we strike Venezuela and we accidentally kill a bunch of people? Trump's not going to want that for his image. So this could be like an Iran situation where the U.S. does a strike of some sort and it's so coordinated and secret that even Venezuela won't even know about it until it's over. But all this to say is that something's going to happen. I just hope Trinidad and Tobago don't really assist us, because now we're looking at like 3 countries attacking Venezuela. Yeah, who knows how the world will react to that. So we'll see what happens. Something's going to happen. All this stuff isn't just happening for nothing. Maduro wouldn't even be saying these things if he didn't think something was going to happen. Because Maduro doesn't want to be in the spotlight at all. Because every time he's in the spotlight, people recognize he's not a legitimate president. So Maduro doesn't want to be in the media at all. Like, he doesn't want this. So for him to come out and say what he said yesterday about the CIA, yeah, something's going to happen. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't think the U.S. should strike at all. I think they should just have dialogue with Maduro and have some sort of agreement where there's no more drugs being sent here. That's better than a first strike, which costs taxpayers money, by the way. All this is not free. So, yeah, so there's that. And then this was kind of interesting. Trump says he won't seek a third term, citing U.S. Constitution. If you read it, it's pretty clear. I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad. Yeah, so basically, Trump wants to run again. It's not going to happen probably because of his age. People always want to cite you can't do a third term. But the more problematic thing about this is his age. I mean, Trump's very healthy. But 3 years from now, after he's been president for 4 years, it's going to take a toll on him. I mean, look at even Biden, who's old as hell. Look at how he looked in 2020 versus 2024. That's a huge difference, like a completely different person. And nobody has more pressure and is being attacked more than Donald Trump. So, and he's a human, so eventually he's going to decline. And it's probably going to be in a few years, because no human can just take all this attack and persecution like he can. So I don't think Trump's going to run, not because he can't, because of the Constitution, because of his age. And yeah, so basically I think the only way that Trump would run again is if Barack Obama runs again. That way they can both say like, oh, well, you want a third term, I want a third term. And that's been kind of hinted at. I actually said that a few years ago. I said there's a possibility Obama will run in 2028 against Trump. Wouldn't that be insane? I mean, that would obviously be an easy victory for Trump, but I don't think we want Trump in office if he's declining a lot. And by the way, he's not really declining. He kind of is, but like it's nowhere concerning. Like, I think Trump's gonna do this term, this 4-year term, just fine. But 4 years from now, when the next election is, he might be different, you know? He might be slower, he might be slurring his words. I don't know. Maybe his orange hair will turn gray. We don't know. All I know is that when you're the president, whether you're Biden and do nothing, or you're Trump and do everything, it takes a toll on you. Even Obama, who didn't do much, that dude had like straight up gray hair by 2012. And he was pretty young comparatively to Trump and Biden. So at their age, Trump, I don't think it's healthy for him to run again. But if Obama like announces he wants to run again, then oh yeah, Trump's gonna do it and he will win, and it'd be pretty funny. But I don't really think any of this is gonna happen. Trump has kind of gone back and forth on this topic before. He said this before, then he's come out and said, oh, well, maybe. So we're still a few years away. I mean, nobody's going to beat a Vance Rubio ticket. I don't care who the Democrats choose. I say choose because they won't let their people vote. That's democracy, right? So whoever the Democrats choose won't have a chance against Vance Rubio. I mean, Vance Rubio is they'll probably do better than Trump did. That's how strong that ticket is. So I shouldn't even really be talking about this. This is 3 years away. We won't even know. So, but right now he's saying he's not. We'll see if that changes in a few months. So, just some other headlines here. Obama reportedly confronted Pelosi over early Kamala endorsement after Biden exit. WTF did you just do? Yeah, like I said in my other video, the Democrats hate each other more than the Republicans hate the Democrats. Obama hates Kamala more than anyone I've ever seen. Same with Biden. Nobody likes Newsom. Biden and Obama don't even get along now. There's not a single Democrat who can get along with a Democrat these days. So yeah, that's not really surprising. In fact, Obama did not want Kamala to be running or get chosen, and he was really mad at Biden because he chose her as her VP. Well, he didn't choose her; the DNC did. So that's whatever. There's about to be a huge shakeup at ICE, and the left is going to be furious. Yeah, ICE is repositioning some people and are moving them because they're about to do even more raids in other states. Like I said yesterday, these deportation numbers have to go up. There's way too many illegals. I don't know how Trump can do this in a 4-year term to get 50 million illegals out of here, at least. Do the math. How many is that per year? And we've only gotten 500,000 in a 9-month span. So we're way under where we should be, but what can you do when you have limited resources? But Sean Duffy announces he just inked $160 million from California over CDLs for illegal immigrants. Yeah, he announced this a couple days ago. He said if California doesn't stop just handing out CDLs for illegals, they're going to take some funding. And then 2 days later, here we are. He takes away funding, and Gavin Newsom's probably not knowing why. He's probably thinking it's racist or something. Even though he literally had a press conference about this and said, I'm going to do this if you don't stop. So, yeah. Ohio uncovers 1,000 non-citizens registered to vote, sends case to DOJ for prosecution. Yeah, I wish more states and cities would do this. Ohio's a very red state. I don't know why the media tries to say it's a swing state every freaking election. It's not a swing state. The major cities in Ohio are very liberal, but it's kind of funny because Ohio is a red state. They voted for Trump 3 times, overwhelmingly, and it wasn't even close. And they counted it as a swing state in all 3 times. I don't understand that. I've never seen Ohio be like a close election, to be honest. So what else? Foreign terror designation could boost U.S. effort to dismantle Antifa. Well, yeah, Antifa is a terrorist group, a domestic terror groups. But foreign terror designation is interesting because Antifa is everywhere. It's mainly here, but if they do stuff in other lands, then they could also be labeled as a foreign terror designation, which wouldn't be good for them and Soros. Court to consider Trump's use of National Guard in Oregon. Yeah, like I said yesterday, Portland's the worst place you could probably live other than Chicago, Detroit, all these other places. And I said nothing's going to get better until Trump sends the National Guard in. He sent some DHS over there. It's nothing. We still see the same stories out of Portland every day. So whatever Trump sent is not enough. So the National Guard needs to go there. And we'll see if the court I don't believe a court will allow Trump to do that. Trump will have to do it himself, but we'll see. Maybe they overrule it differently. So nothing too much. Today was kind of a quiet day, not going to lie. Other than the troops being reduced, China stopping selling supplies, nothing really major has happened that we need to talk about right here, right now. Although, as I'm speaking, something could be happening, who knows? But, nothing really. Today's really scary quiet. Usually there's something to talk about that happened, and so far, nothing. Hurricane Melissa makes landfall in eastern Cuba as a Category 3 storm. Yeah, so it was a Category 5 when it hit Jamaica. It was the worst storm ever recorded over there. Just devastating. Um, Hopefully, it was a naturally formed hurricane because the U.S. government does have patents on how to make hurricanes. And it's kind of interesting. It happened in Jamaica. There's a lot of tension going on in that area. So who knows? And then we also what happened in Brazil. There was a huge crackdown on cartel members in Brazil. It looked like a civil war was going on. There was fires, people, gunshots everywhere. But it was basically the police trying to round up a bunch of cartels, and a lot of people got hurt, a lot of people died. That's also a hot area. So stuff is happening in the southern part of the world, the Caribbean and South America. There's a lot of stuff happening over there, and it just kind of makes you wonder, like, is all this natural? Like this hurricane, interesting. And the Rio de Janeiro raids happening at the same time. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. But it all could just be natural. I'm probably just paranoid. But yeah, so that's kind of a big deal. That hurricane was huge. Jamaica was, I mean, it was bad from the videos I've seen and everything. And yeah, Jamaica's not like this super rich country, so it's going to be really hard for them to build everything back. In fact, Jamaica's a very corrupt country, and the citizens there don't make any money really. It's all just a scheme. It's very hard to be wealthy over there unless you're in government or something. So I don't know what they're going to do about that, but they're going to do something because Jamaica's a huge tourist spot around the world. So they're probably going to try to clean up right away. Yeah, that's about it. I wish I had more for you today. Although maybe I don't wish that because a lot of the stuff we've been saying hasn't been good. So maybe this is good. It's a quiet day. Maybe we need this. Hopefully nothing happens throughout the rest of the day. If there is, I'll make another video, but yeah, until then, that's about it. I just want to say SNAP benefits are running out soon, a couple days. Democrats are not going to open the government in this period. The Democrats will open the government once the riots stop or once there is no riots. So if there's SNAP benefits that cut off and there's no riots, the Democrats will come to the table within a week. But if there's riots or any civil unrest, they will hold that hostage. Literally, as my mouse is over this. Yeah, so I really hope there's no civil unrest so that they can just come to the negotiating table and open things up again. Not that the government needs to be open. I actually think it would be very healthy for U.S. to stop SNAP benefits, at least for a little bit, so people can have an awakening, especially people that are taking advantage of the system. They'll like have to go get a job or something. Like, I think that's healing. I think we actually do need that. But we also need air traffic control. Our troops need to be paid. Like, all these things do need to open sooner than later, but we'll see. We'll see in a few days. We'll see in a few days. Hopefully there's no civil unrest. But if there is, don't expect the Democrats to open the government until the riots stop. Yeah, so that's about it. We'll see if anything else happens. So until then, see ya.